Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first video. My name is Courtney, and I thought a good first video could be talking about all of the books that I read last year in 2024. I feel like I love reading. A lot of this channel will be reading and book related, but I want it to be a mix of everything I like. I love movies and film as well as books. I love being creative and crocheting, drawing, journaling. Yeah, and I'm in my 20s just trying to figure out life. So that's that right now. Now that I guess you know a little bit more about me and what I'm doing here, I thought I would go through all of the books that I read last year in 2024, because I feel like that's a good way to get to know a person, seeing what books they read, what they liked, what they rated it, their thoughts on the book. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. I do have my iPad here so that I can look at my Fable, because I use Fable to track my reading and my ratings and all of that. Let's just get into this. I only read 15 books this past year, which is like a lot to someone who never reads, but is not a lot to someone who reads a lot. I feel like 2023, I think I read like 10 books. I was in a major book slump all of 2023, and I think last year 2024 I was like trying to actively get out of it, and I think I did that. I do. Even though 15 books isn't a lot, it was my goal, so at least I hit my goal, whereas in 2023 I did not hit my goal. So this year my goal is 20 books, so slowly kind of working my way back up to the number of books that I usually would read. Yeah, I only read 15 books last year, but that's okay. It's not the number of books you read, it's the fact that you're reading in the first place. The first book that I read last year was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I have never read the Harry Potter series. I have never watched the Harry Potter movies. The only movie that I vividly remember watching as a kid was the first movie. Back at the beginning of 2023, I read the first Harry Potter, and then it took me a whole year to get around to the second Harry Potter book, but I did it. I loved it. I mean, I don't actually have a rating of these books on my Fable because I feel like they're just so timeless. I feel like I can't put a rating to it because I had so much fun reading it. They're really great. Also, even just like listening to the audiobooks are also such an experience. So at the beginning of last year, I read the second, third, and fourth ones. Second one being The Chamber of Secrets, the third one being The Prisoner of Azkaban, and the fourth one being The Goblet of Fire. The books are so well written. The books are so in-depth, have so much backstory that I do feel like the movies forget about. But I had so much fun with all of them. I am currently reading the fifth one. Those were the first 3 books I read for last year. In between reading those 3 books, I read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. It's about this guy who lives at home with his family still, I think his younger sister, his parents, and one day he wakes up and he's a beetle, a big bug. The whole book is him being a bug and his family not understanding and him not understanding. This one I also didn't give a rating, but it took me a long time to finish that book, and if you've read it, it's not a big book at all. I don't know, like thinking back on it, it's not like it's not like it gave me a huge understanding of something in my life, or it's not like it impacted me in a really big and important way. Like, I don't know. And maybe that's because it did take me so long to read it, or I wasn't as engaged as I should have been. Even though I didn't rate it on Fable, I would probably give it like a 2.5. Wasn't my cup of tea, and that's okay. That's okay. Some classics aren't gonna be my cup of tea. And the other book that I read in between reading the the 3 Harry Potter books right at the beginning of the year was Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. So this is a graphic memoir. It is really good. It did take me a hot minute to finish this book, but I did really, really enjoy it. This book follows her as she grows up, kind of makes the discovery or comes to term with the fact that she's queer, while also dealing with her relationship with her family, specifically her dad. And her dad passes away, and the circumstances around how he passed away are a little blurry. Yeah, I loved it. I gave that 4 stars, by the way. So up next, I read Practical Magic by Alison Hoffman. Nope. I read Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. One thing you need to know about me is I love anything witchy. I love a witch. I love a witch. And I love magic. And that's this. In this book, we follow 2 sisters, Sally and Jillian. They are of the Owens family, and their family is known to just be blamed for everything that goes wrong. No one in the town likes them. They're bad luck. Stay away. The sisters hate this. They hate that they've always had this like target on their back. So they try and run away from it, but of course, they always come back to each other as if by magic. And it's a good book. I do really like this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars because in 2023, I read The Rules of Magic, which is a prequel to this, and I definitely liked it more than this book. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, but I love The Rules of Magic so much. I sobbed when I finished that book. This book was good. I'm not saying it wasn't a good book. I mean, I gave it 4 stars, which is a really good rating out of 5, but something hit me so deep about The Rules of Magic and that sibling relationship. I still love this book and this sibling relationship and them going throughout life from childhood through adulthood and being there for each other. One thing about me is I love books that have strong female bonds. So whether it's friendships, sisters, mother-daughter bonds, like I love it. So I still love this book, but I have to say The Rules of Magic was my favorite. And I have yet to read the other ones in this whole series, so we'll see. Next, I read Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. This book follows an expedition to summit Mount Everest that happened in 1996. It is based on a real story that this journalist actually went on, shit went down. It kind of follows the group. You learn about everyone, and everyone in this book is a real person. They have lived or still do live, and it follows Peace for the magazine he worked for. These people's reasons for wanting to summit Mount Everest and spend all this money and all this effort and risk their lives. Unfortunately, the day that they decided to summit Mount Everest was the day that a horrible storm came through and horrible things did happen. And that's what this is about. It's wild to think about what these people went through in some of these people's last moments of life. It's crazy. This book can be a hard read at times. He definitely pays homage to the people who did pass on Mount Everest that day, and I highly recommend this book if you're into anything like that. So I gave this book 5 stars. This is my first 5-star for 2024. It's really good. So the next book that I read during the summertime, and I had put off reading this book for so long because it felt like a summer-ween book, and that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This book was so fun. Again, this book has strong female bonds, best friends. I love this book. It is a very fun read for summer. I know Grady Hendrix has a very specific voice when it comes to horror, and I love it. I cannot wait to read more of his books. It's fun. It's very off-putting, emotional. It's really good. I had a really fun time with this book, and I give it 4 stars. The next book that I read was Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austin. Now, I read her other book, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, and I loved it. And this book is amazing. She is one of my favorite authors. The way that Emily Austin can write characters with so much depth, so much backstory is amazing, and her way of writing is so quick and so witty, and it's just, I love her books so much. Her characters are unforgettable, and I love. I gave this book 4 stars. So the next book that I read, I actually listened completely to the audiobook, but I do have the physical copy, and that is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. I don't even know what to say about it. I needed a book to listen to on a 2-hour drive to my best friend's house and back, and I devoured this book. So Writers and Lovers by Lily King follows Casey. She's an aspiring author, writer. We just honestly follow her while she's trying to figure out life. You know, she wants to be an author, but she can't pay the bills, and she works as a waitress, and she's trying to figure out all these romantic aspects of her and these different guys. She also has to deal with the death of her mom and that grief and coming to terms with that. And I love books like this that feel so real, and the characters feel so real. I think I gave it, I gave it 4 stars. I was really stingy with my 5 stars. The last book that I physically read, which honestly is kind of a lie, is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenie. I don't know. I have been meaning to read this book for a while. I've always been interested in it, and especially the movie, which I have yet to watch. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie, the middle of the book was very slow for me. It had me really dragging to read the book. So I did switch over to the audiobook, which helped me finish the book. It follows 5 Lisbon sisters who one by one commit suicide, essentially. I know the whole point of the story is that it's from the boys' perspective and they never truly knew the sisters, but I just would have devoured this book if it was from the girl's perspective, and maybe that's just because I am a woman. So overall, liked it. I'm excited to watch the movie and compare, because I know the movie is loved by so many. I know the book is loved by so many, but I don't know, it didn't do it for me. So I gave this book a 3.5. Now, the last 4 books that I read for 2024 were all audiobooks. At this point, it was December and I needed 4 more books to hit my goal. So I listened to audiobooks. Okay? So the first one that I listened to was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I fucking love this book so much. I don't think I've ever read a book where the main character was like meant to be unlikable, and I love it so much. I had such a fun time with this book. Essentially, we follow June. She's an aspiring author. She isn't having much luck, and she is friends, but more so acquaintances, with Athena, who is this amazing author. She has so much notoriety and popularity. People love her work. And she steals a book from her and publishes it and thinks she can get away with it. So this causes problems. It's a fun time. It's a roller coaster, and I loved disliking the main character. Don't get me wrong, at times she was written in a way that made it seem like she was doing the right thing, or she was a likable character, but the whole story, you just know, like, you can't support her. It's never gonna work out. She has no morals whatsoever. And it was a fun time. And I gave Yellowface 4.5. I was really stingy with the 5 stars this year, I guess. Anyways, moving on. Then I listened to My Husband by Maud Ventura, and this was a fun time. It was a quick one. It was a very short story, but it follows this wife, this main character. I can't remember her name right now. We follow her through a week, and we get a glimpse inside her head of how she rationalizes things, what certain things her husband does mean to her in her head, and how they offend her or how they make things okay. Like, it's just so interesting. I've never read a book with the unhinged woman trope, but now I get it, and I understand why people enjoy reading them, because it kind of falls under the same idea as Yellowface, of the unlikable main character, unlikable narrator, because the things the person's doing you can't really support, but it's so interesting being inside their head as they rationalize why they're doing what they're doing, and it's so fun. And I love that with this book, and I also loved the ending. The little twist at the end just like was a little cherry on top. So I gave this book 4 stars. Then we were around Christmas time, and this was a book on my radar for a while, and that was The 12 Days of Murder by Andrena Cordani. And I had so much fun with this. It was a whodunit based around Christmas time, and we follow the main character, who is a part of this murder mystery group from college. But at their last murder mystery party, someone went missing, and that mystery was never solved. So when the opportunity came up for this group to get together again 10 years later, of course people couldn't resist, and shit starts hitting the fan. And it was such a fun read. It was the perfect pace, I feel. I do think the beginning was a little slow, but once you get all the like introductions of all the people, because it's a big cast of people in this book, it's a fun time. I loved it. I gave The 12 Days of Murder a 4.5, and I can't wait to read more of her books. And then the last book that I read in 2024 was Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson. In this book, she's an aspiring author. She works at a publishing house, a small publishing house that does not think romance books should be read, should be published. So behind these people's backs, she's writing this romance novel, and she accidentally leaves her manuscript in like a hidden room in the office. And when she goes back for it, she realizes someone has wrote all over it and edited it. And that starts this sort of fun, quirky back and forth between these two people. So it's a fun time. I had a lot of fun with this book. I'm usually not one for romances, but this had a fun spin to it. So I really liked it. And it kind of like fakes you out a little bit of a twist in there, but it was really fun. It was really fun. It was like a very nice last book of the year, and I had a lot of fun with it. Hey guys, so as you can tell, it is not the same day as the rest of these clips. I'm actually editing the video right now, and I have no clue where my last clip went. It got deleted and I can't find it anywhere. So here I am. For the rating of Meet Me in the Margins, I did give it a 5-star rating, which I think that was only the second 5-star rating I gave a book last year. I had a lot of books that I did really like. I just think I was really stingy with the 5 stars. But yeah, those were all the books that I read in 2024. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of long, and if you notice that the camera angle was changing a lot, I had a lot of kinks to work out, so hopefully my next couple videos will go a little bit smoother. But I appreciate you guys for watching. If you liked, give it a like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!